Hello again everyone, Deflect here, Firm but Fair Gaming. Came to bring you a video on the Mercenary Arsenal. This is the build I've been working on. It took a little while to get together, but it is finally here and I wanted to show you. Now again, as always, you can read through the utilities. There is one I swap in and out and I will show you. But for the most part, I run Improve Vents, I run Bore Sights, and then I swap this one in and out. Gyroscopic alignment jets, and I swap it for jet escape, depending on what I'm doing. So that's the one I mix in and out. On the masterful row, I use power barrier, pyro shield, and energy rebounder. Heroic section, I use Kodo surge, thrill of the hunt, and stabilized armor. For my spec sheet, I run, there's a reason I'm running that high alacrity, but for the accuracy, 1590 is what you want. And I am 1 over, so I was almost bang on. So close. But couldn't get everything to where I needed it. For the alacrity, this should be actually 2374, so I am a little high, but it is what it is. It's still okay. But there is a reason you want to use that, because you have a passive called High Velocity Gas Cylinder, which gives you 3% alacrity. This will give you a 1.3 GCD. So once these two areas are met, the alacrity and the accuracy, dump everything else into the crit. As for the tactical, there are two tacticals you want. Primed Ignition is your single target tactical. And for your other tactical, you will want thermonuclear fusion. So this will just make heat seeker missiles or fired additional missiles to nearby targets affected by your heat signature. For the two, because I'm really lazy and I don't like switching in and out, I have the crit one so far and the power one. So just to get me more crit, more power are the ones I use for the relics. As for the gear sets, I am missing a piece of the Apex Predator. Apex Predator will be your best in-slot gear piece, dealing damage with Power Shot or Tracer Missile, and healing with Rapid Scan grants a stack of Power Step, stacking up to 5 times. At 5 stacks, your next Power Shot, Tracer Missile, and Rapid Scan is more effective and generates no heat. Best in-slot gear set. I am like 2 pieces short, so one day I will have it. The one I am running, though, is the next kind of best thing, which is not the greatest, but it's what we have, and that is Concentrated Fire. Activating supercharged gas makes your next rail shot, mag shot, or emergency scan automatically crit, hit, or heal. So it is what it is. Makes your next rail shot, crit, hit. That's what we got. For your mod, you will want to use Armor Pen. Armor Pen is key. Armor Pen is what you want. Excuse me. Now, getting into a little bit on how this class works, I'm going to show you a couple key things. There is no end-all be-all rotation. There is some, a bit of better rotation. There's things you want to use to proc other items on Arsenal. So, all depends on how you want to line up everything. I took all my keybinds off so you can watch me click the buttons. I know there's going to be some people who jump down and say, oh my god, you click, but I just took the keybinds off so you can actually just see me clicking. That way you can follow along if you don't call it out quite right. So I want to get into a little bit of what to do on single target. The big ones that you'll want to know is Tracer Missile. This is very, very important ability because it has 2 things it does. Vulnerable to rail shots and heat seeker missiles, and armor rating decrease. So 2 debuffs on your enemy with 1 ability. You will want to use 3 Tracer Missiles at some point. I'm just going to show you what 3 Tracer Missiles gets you the rail shot proc. Now, if you have supercharged gas, you can hit this before your rail shot, because then your rail shot will cost no heat with Concentrated Fire. On Apex Predator, it's a little different, but on Concentrated Fire, it will cost no heat. So you play around and you will want to have this proc when you use Rail Shot. It does that much more damage. Another ability to watch is Heat Seeker Missile. Use Heat Seeker Missile when you have Tracer Missile already on a target, because you will want the heat signature on the target so they are vulnerable to the missile. As you can see here, you want to make sure they have this debuff before you use Heat Seeker Missile. Also, the other items are Blazing Bolts. Is a great spell. It does quite a bit of damage for a channel, but you can complete the proc if you use Tracer Missile basically under 50% of the cooldown time left. It will automatically finish it, and you'll be able to cast Blazing Bolts again. Now, you can also have a beefed up version of Tracer Missile if you use Prime Shot. You can see this. Here you go. Gets you a proc and finishes Blazing Bolts. So I need one more proc for the Rail Shot after this. Here it is, and there's your Rail Shot proc. Supercharged Gas, Rail Shot, Heat Seeker Missile. Back to Blazing Bolts, Prime Ignition, Tracer Missile, Blazing Bolts, Tracer Missile, Rail Shot. So that's, I don't put in a full rotation for this because you're working around procs in this one. A lot of it will be, you know, proccing your Blazing Bolts because you're going to use Blazing Bolts a lot of the time, and you're going to use that procced Rail Shot. So if you don't use a proc on 3 Rail Shot and you use it on 2, it's not the worst case, but it is best to use on 3. And it is better to use Supercharged Gas before Rail Shot so it doesn't cost any heat. And that's pretty much what you want to look out for. Other than your defensives, you know, your responsive safeguard, you can have your energy shield, you can have your code overcharge. For AoE, definitely Death from Above is just about the coolest animation I've ever seen. I love that animation. It is phenomenal. Phenomenal. One of my favorite animations in the game, Death from Above. Your spammable one, you can just keep casting and casting. It will cost quite a bit of heat. Is Sweeping Blaster. You can just keep casting this as you want because Death from Above does have a cooldown. But it will heat up pretty quick. So you got to watch out for just spamming Sweeping Blast because you can see your heating up quite a bit, especially when you get into another Death from Above after. You will eventually run out of heat very quickly. But those are your main AoE attacks. You can use filler spells in between those just to reduce your heat, or you can vent heat if you like to rapidly get rid of your heat. As you can see, it gets rid of it, and then you can go back to spamming Sweeping Blast if you need be. AoE on this one's pretty easy. You know, it's nothing like your single target, where your single target is high in demand of watching procs. This is just kind of Sweeping Blast. If there's enough enemies, like you wouldn't use this on a 2-pack of enemies by any means. And you would also use, again, if you're using your AoE tactical, you would be using you'd be using a lot more of the Heat Seeker Missile because the Heat Seeker Missile will then hit multiple enemies. As you can see with your thermal heat missile fires an additional missiles to nearby enemies affected by your heat signature. So you want to make sure you have heat signature on additional enemies before you use the heat missile. That kind of is the gist of Arsenal. A lot of watching procs, a lot of playing around heat. If you do it, watch your procs and you watch your heat, and you use your supercharged gas on your rail shots, it's not too bad to manage the heat. So get out there, test it out. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. This was Deflect, Firm but Fair Gaming. We'll see you in the next video.